We're going to look at infinitives and gerunds. An infinitive is a to plus verb and a gerund is a verb ing. Sometimes we can use both of these. For example, with like or prefer, we can say I like to dance, or we can say I like dancing. But sometimes we cannot choose. So for example, if I use a word like want, I can only use the infinitive, I want to dance. And if I use a verb like enjoy, then I can only use the gerund, I enjoy dancing. So we have the infinitive, to plus verb, and the gerund, verb ing. We also have the bare infinitive. So for example, if I use a verb like see, and then I add another person, for example, you, I see you dance. That's possible. And I see you dancing is also possible, but not I see you to dance. So we're going to look at why this is. First, we think about time. If I want something, then I don't have it now. It relates to the future. Want is a future verb, and there are other verbs like this. For example, hope and promise. So these types of verbs that point to the future usually are combined with the infinitive. I promise to dance, I hope to dance, I want to dance. So this idea of a verb pointing to the future is associated with the infinitive. And approximately, this is maybe 60% correct. Okay? Not always correct, but it's a good thing to think about, a useful thing to think about. Still thinking about time. I enjoy dancing. This verb enjoy. How do I know this is true? How do I know that I enjoy dancing? This is a verb describing a feeling. How did I get that feeling? Well, we can think about it as coming from the past. This enjoy, I know because dancing was in the past, in my past. So I can think about enjoy as a kind of past or experience verb. Okay? And there are other verbs like this that talk about feelings that come from the past. These are strong emotional words like hate and detest. Now, sometimes it's possible to use hate with the infinitive and detest with the infinitive, but more commonly they are used to indicate a past experience. So approximately again, this idea of the ing pointing to the past, maybe 40% correct. Okay, so generally the infinitive is pointing to the future and the ing is pointing to the past. These figures are not from research, just from my experience teaching. But if you combine these two, then maybe you are close to 70% correct. So if you are trying to choose between the infinitive and the gerund, and you just think about time, then most examples will be correct. Not all examples, but most. This figure of 40% correct is not very high. And so let's look at some of the verbs that don't seem to work with this idea of past experience and the ing. This verb, advise, if I put that in the sentence, I advise dancing. So that seems to talk about the future, but uses the ing. So that's confusing. Suggest, that's the same. I suggest to dance? No, I suggest dancing. But these seem to be talking about the future. Same for recommend. Propose, I propose to dance. That's possible. I propose dancing. That's also possible. But there's something different about those two. Let's look at that next. Think about propose. I propose to dance. I propose dancing. Both of these are possible. Is there a difference in the meaning? Well, I propose to dance. Who is doing that? I? Yes, definitely. So if I go to the infinitive, then I propose, so I is for this verb, but I is also for that verb. I propose, I dance. So the infinitive is associated with who. Who does this? So another thing to think about is the actor. Who does the action? With the infinitive, the who is the same for both verbs. I propose and also I dance. What about like and prefer? I like to dance. I like, I dance. That's the same. I prefer, I dance. That's the same. Now let's look at the verb ing. The gerund, verb ing. I propose dancing. Well, who is doing that? Maybe me, but it could also be you. It could be we. It could be they. It could be anyone. I propose dancing is not specific about who is the actor, but the infinitive is very specific about who is the actor. Here are more infinitive verbs. I promise to help you. I promise, I help. I hope to get a job. I hope I get a job. I want to eat pizza. I want and I eat pizza. So the infinitive is associated not with I necessarily, but the same actor here and here. However, the gerund is not specific about the actor. Could be anybody. So the verb propose is flexible. It can refer to me, I propose to dance, or it can refer to other people. I propose dancing. Maybe somebody else is dancing. The same for like. I like to dance, that's me. I like dancing. Maybe I'm talking about watching other people dance, a dancing show, or the sport of dancing. Same for this other verb, cook. I like cooking. Maybe that's talking about a cooking show. Or instead of my cooking, it could be somebody else's cooking. So we can think about the verb ing as an activity name. It's a verb, but it's also the name of an activity. And maybe somebody else is doing that activity. So we can do this, for example. Possessive, your, or her, or his. I like your dancing, I like your cooking, because this is the name of an activity. Somebody else is doing it maybe. But I can't do that with the infinitive. I like your to dance. That doesn't work. So, the infinitive is more focused on the action and the actor, and the gerund is more focused on the activity, which can be a noun and also can be associated with somebody else, so we can use the possessive here. That's a big difference between to dance and dancing, or to cook and cooking. Now, let's look at these other verbs. We already know propose, this verb propose, and like and prefer are flexible. Can refer to I or other people. So, propose to or propose verb ing. But these verbs, recommend, suggest, advise, are never for me. They are always for other people. So if we think about that, this is always for other people. Now we can see that maybe this is why it's never with to plus verb. Okay, so because it's always talking about other people. I advise dancing. I advise cooking. I recommend dancing. I recommend cooking. So these are usually with verb ing. If we think about a verb and another verb, with these verbs, it's usually ing. But there's one more thing I need to point out. We have another possible structure we have not talked about yet. We can use recommend in this sentence structure. Let's put it here under enjoy. So I recommend dancing, or I recommend cooking. Okay. But we can also use this structure. I recommend that you dance, or I recommend that you cook. This is an alternative structure. It's not like this. It's a different type of grammar. Also possible, a little bit more formal than this one. That works with recommend, suggest, advise, and some other verbs as well. We can use that structure. The interesting thing about the structure here is it is affected by tense. So, I recommend that you dance, or I recommend that you cook. But if I talk about third person, she or he, I recommend that she dances, that she cooks. So this structure requires that you remember the grammatical conjugation. Also, that is optional. I recommend you dance. I recommend you cook. So, this structure is another possibility. And there's one more thing that we can talk about before we're finished with this grammar presentation. So, we talked about time and we talked about the after as some ways of distinguishing the difference between the infinitive and the gerund. Here is another example. I see you dance. This verb is a little bit different because it is a sensory or a perceptive verb. See, hear, smell, touch. So, for example, I see you dance, I see you cook, but maybe this cooking activity is generating aromas, beautiful smells of food cooking, so I can use smell. Or maybe with another verb here, sing, then I can use the verb hear. Hear, see and smell, cook and sing. They happen at the same time. See and dance happens at the same time, not after or before, only at the same time. Same with smell. I smell you cook. I smell you cooking is also possible, but they're at the same time. And hear, I hear you sing, and I hear you singing, that's also possible as well, but they're at the same time. And in those cases where they are at the same time, we use the bare infinitive, so no two, because they are closer together conceptually. This is an example of conceptual distance and linguistic distance reflecting each other. Same time, less words, no two. So in summary then, the infinitive and the gerund. We can think about time. The infinitive is usually talking about the future after the first verb. And if I put this verb in the past, for example, yesterday I wanted to dance, then that dance is still in the future of the want, but in both of them are in the past. And maybe, in that case, wanted to dance indicates that the dance never happened. So infinitive for the future. Not always, because here are some examples where it's not, but usually, and this is quite common. Also, the infinitive keeps the same actor. I want to dance, I want, I dance. But that's not the same for the gerund. The gerund is much more flexible. It's not specific about who is the actor. And so we can use the possessive. I like your dancing. I like your cooking. Not my cooking. Your cooking is better than my cooking. So we can use the possessive here because this is the name of an activity. It is in fact a noun and can be used as a noun, as the subject of a sentence. Your cooking is better, and also as the object of a sentence, better than my cooking. Some verbs are flexible. They can refer to the future. I propose to dance, and it's me. They can also refer to other people. I propose dancing. That could be they dancing. We also have this situation of perceptual verbs like hear and see and smell. They happen at the same time, and they can be used with the bare infinitive or the gerund. And the difference between I see you dance and I see you dancing could be that I see you dancing is more focused on the activity. So the ing is associated with this activity. We also have another structure, that, and in that, when you use that, the that is optional, but you have to be careful about the conjugation here. And this structure is a little bit more formal, so for academic writing and business writing. I hope that helps. Thanks very much for watching and listening.